Wrestling is now, fans. I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. The winner's circle was Wrestling is Now's most recent event, which was their first event since February after postponing back in April. The show begins with Suntan coming to the ring, and he mentioned about Joel Maximo's grandson Chase, who passed away just days before the show happened, and mentioned about the GoFundMe account. He said if you can't donate, at least share the link, and others could possibly donate to give this child a proper burial. The action begins with a six-way matchup as we see Tommy Invincible versus Brandon Downey versus J.J. Doze versus Vincent Michaels versus Alpha Zero versus I apologize for getting that man's name wrong and for not remembering that man's name, as well as the gentleman with the eye patch in his corner. I didn't get their names, but J.J. Doze victorious over Brandon Downey, Vincent Michaels, Alpha Zero, Tommy Invincible, and the person whose name I did not get. And that match was 6 minutes 30 seconds. Next matchup was it was time for El Jefe Adrian Santos' open challenge, as his challenge accepted by Angel. I don't know if he's billed as the Heavenly One or the Heavenly Gate. Pretty good match these two had, and so many close moments in this matchup. El Jefe Adrian Santos defeated Angel at 12 minutes 4 seconds. We were next scheduled to see the six-man tag team match between the SAT and W.I.N. Joel Maximo comes to the ring without his brothers, but he's coming to the ring by Skills the Great and one of the Spot Monkeys. But out comes W.I.N. with their manager PJ Stackpole, and Stackpole says that, that Joel's brothers were ambushed and that Ian Aldwin is injured. Ian came to the ring on crutches. So what happens is Joel, I forgot he took the mic or not, but out came Whiplash, who I remember from the Fighting Spirit days, and it looked like Whiplash lost weight and doesn't have the long hair anymore. And Whiplash and Joel faced Cyrus DeVille and AJ Spectre of the End in a tag team matchup. I think initially Spectre and DeVille tried to use Aldwin's crutches on Maximo and Whiplash, and that didn't work. I don't know if the crutches broke because Ian was still around ringside and didn't use the crutches. Eventually the Spot Monkey comes into the ring and he spears Joel. Spectre and DeVille end up defeating Maximo and Whiplash to pick up the victory. The Spot Monkey takes his mask off. It's none other than Johnny Cashmere, and out come the new Backseat Boys, JP and Tommy Grayson. But then out comes Micah and Seth Cortez, the Audacity, and they start having a match with the back seats. But then out comes the debuting Body Bags. Didn't get their individual names. One of them had the word Lotto, L-O-T-T-O, on his gear, so that may or may not be his last name. And it was a triple threat match which saw the Audacity defeat the Backseat Boys and the Body Bags in 10 minutes 50 seconds. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but AJ Spectre and Cyrus DeVille, when they won their match over Joel Maximo and Whiplash, that match went 9 minutes 11 seconds. Up next was the first title match of the evening, as we saw Ray Jazz challenge the Feral Face for the Invitational Championship. Jazz eventually comes out of the ring and gets the microphone and introduces Ricky Smokes, who's at ringside, who comes out, and he stays at ringside, and he like chokes Face against the ropes, and the referee wasn't looking. Eventually, J.J. Doze came out, as did the Audacity. Face victorious over Ray Jazz at an even 16 minutes to retain the Invitational Championship, as Face, Doze, and Audacity were celebrating the victory in the ring. Then it was up next, we were time for another championship matchup, as Ox Adams, that's Ox spelled with 2 X's, challenged the cause of it all, Joey Conway, who had the finisher Steve Pena in his corner for the heavyweight championship. Pretty good matchup these guys had. Joey Conway defeated Ox Adams at 9 minutes 11 seconds to retain the heavyweight championship. After the match, Ox takes the microphone. He says, you know, I don't care what management says. You know, if you people want it, I'll come back next show. Well, he said next month, but I'm sure he meant next show about coming back and getting another shot at Conway's championship. At that point, they had gone to the short intermission, and it was time for the main event, the Winner's Circle Rumble, where the winner gets a shot at any championship they desire. The number 1 entrant was PJ Savage. Number 2 was Jacko. Other participants were Big Ant Gracia, who actually got eliminated twice. Other participants were the finisher Steve Pena, Hamlet Hertzu, Michael Mastretta, Salvatore Savelli, Cooper Valentine, Giorgio Lawrence. There's more I'm trying to figure out, guys. Giorgio Lawrence, Ricky Smokes, Wet Brett Waters, David Goldie. We had a woman, I apologize for not getting her name. She was the only woman in the match. She didn't even last long in the matchup. Dang, who else? Oh, Jorge La Bestia. Well, eventually it came down to Savage, Hertzu, and Pena. Pena got eliminated, and then Savage and Hertzu were supposed to go one-on-one until a pinfall or submission was scored. Hertzu avoided going over the top rope. He was still on the apron. He sunset flip over from the apron, tried to take PJ Savage down, much like the late Davey Boy Smith did to Bret Hart at SummerSlam '92. He dropped to his knees, hooked the legs, and scored the pinfall to win the whole thing. And the whole thing was 26 minutes 9 seconds. Joey Conway had come to ringside to check on Pena, and PJ took the microphone and I forgot, I think he and Conway, did they go at it? I can't remember if they went at it afterwards, but Conway said something to him, and Conway's out on the floor, and Man of Steel Mike Verna had come out, and PJ Savage, he mentioned about Joel's grandson, the passing of Joel Maximo's grandson, and PJ mentioned his wife and 4 kids were there, and PJ was getting all emotional. But PJ now gets a shot at any championship he desires based on his victory. And I gotta say, this was a very fun night. Glad to see Wrestling Is Now has returned after postponing back in April. The April show got postponed because this show was supposed to happen back in April. But here's personal notes. It was good seeing Lance. Yeah, Lance is one. Suntan. Let's see. Cooper Valentine and Sal Savelli noticed me before the show. Jorge La Bestia saw me outside on Queens Boulevard before I entered the building. And by the way, they let people in before 7 o'clock. I was surprised at that. Stella, who was working the door. Who else we got? Oh, another thing. I don't know whose kids they were, but they were like, before the show, they were by the ring, and I think they had one of them had a toy car that wound up in the ring, and I don't know if the kids tried to get in there to try to go in the ring to go after it, but somebody came along and made them stay behind the rail. Well, that one fan in front of me with the Mets jersey, he really seemed to enjoy it. And somebody else in the front row near me, he had the old WWF World Championship belt, the Winged Eagle belt, which we know Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, the greats of that era got to wear that particular belt. I noticed that a lot more chairs were added to that one side of the room where the food was sold. Was sold. I don't know. Eventually, we had ourselves a nice crowd that showed up. Hopefully, the next show. Unfortunately, no return date was announced for the next show. But I'm wondering, will there be a second Maximo Legacy Cup tournament? And also, the unit, the current tag team champions, didn't make this show for some reason. As we know, both Jose and Will Maximo were not seen. I forgot what else we maybe, I don't know if Adrian Santos, his open challenge is going to be a thing every show for the immediate future or not. Now I don't know. Look, I guess maybe now the SAT will now be on the hunt for the Backseat Boys and Johnny Cashmere. Where the end goes from here will be interesting to see. Well, again, no word on their return date. I mean, I hope it'll be in July or August. Yeah. Dang it, what else can I say about this show? Well, again, W.I.N. Oh, I forgot. How can I forget? Good seeing Elena. Gave her a hug before the show started. Oh, man. Just hope things go well from this point on for W.I.N. Wrestling is now.